That's everyone's. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. The time is 11:05. At this time, we'll have roll call by Patrick. Let me get you that. Members.
Right. Gerald Mendez, Gary Barney. Everybody on there.
Yeah.
Roy Belcher, Cheryl Braun. Do we have anybody online?
We've got Sylvia Ramirez, Roland Padilla, and Joey Campos, is what I can see.
That's all I know who they are. Lance Brown, Veronica Puenteo, Joey Campos is online. Cynthia Carrasco is present. Reynaldo Cortez, Raymond De La Garza, Monica Espinosa, Ruben Garcia, I think that's it. Alex Garcia, Pam Garza, Robert Garza, Frank Gomez, Emede Gonzalez, Richa Gonzalez, Margie Gonzalez, Wendy Greer, Richie Griffin, Bartolo Guajardo, Adam Guerra, Brenda Hernandez, Abdul Kamara, Bert Lopez, Albert Martinez, Cecilia Monsivais, Rogelio Mercado, Roy Mireles, Rick Morin, Roland Padilla, Michelle Perales, Gilbert Perez, Lino Placencio, Angela Ramirez, Ruben Ramirez, Juan Reyes, Margaret Rios, Stephanie Roth, Jay Roth, Anthony Reese, Felix Saenz, Patricia Sanders, Matthew Schmidt, Jana Shu,
Oh, Deanna said she was going to join in.
Roberto Silva,
Here.
Patrick Thomas, Angela Torres, Pedro Trevino, Marisa Utley, Hector Valverde, Priscilla Vargas, and Todd Rand. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, no, 11.
Anybody that Patrick didn't call?
Are we good, right?
Oh, we got a new member? You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm Melissa Perez, I'm the lead manager for the city of Dallas.
So she's new to the emergency management department, so she'll be attending these meetings with me as well.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Right during hurricane season. Luckily, we're in blue skies. It was a good test run there last week.
Yep.
All right. We'll now hear the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting by Patrick.
When do you want to do that one? Did we pass out copies to everybody?
Does anyone need a copy of the minutes?
We just pass them out.
Understanding.
Yeah, give them time to review it and then like these, right?
Yeah.
So on the agenda it says 27, but my iPad says 26.
Okay, it was Tuesday. Tuesday the 27th.
So when does this make that change? What time do you do?
11:05.
This is, can I take this?
Yeah, I just need to check, the picture of it.
They look good to me.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? All right, do I hear a motion to approve them as written? Okay. A motion on the floor to accept the minutes as written. All those in favor, or can I get a second? Sorry. Got a second, all in favor? Ayes have it, motion passes. Okay, moving on to reports from officers and committees. First off, we'll start with a safety moment. Anyone want to share a safety moment?
As you notice, this last minute will come from the end of everything out. They can move quickly or they can move very slowly, okay? So the important thing for us is to maintain diligent, be diligent at all times, and also get your rest, because sometimes we're looking at the updates, and they never like at night, or like in the morning, and stuff like that. And if they should strengthen, or it should be no problem, you want to be well rested. It's, you know, just like anything else, the more rested we are, of course, you can anticipate going 12, 14, 16 hours sometimes. If it does hit landfall or it does hit your general area, but always, you know, be cognizant of that. You know, arrow was a even soft ball for us, but nonetheless, it was a good opportunity. Like that, we be here, get some updates, and kind of get a feel for the warnings that are available. And sometimes they're already out there late at night. So, again, rest is always important, and usually would be 6 to 7 or 8 hours at least of sleep, so you can, you know, be comfortable and be, you know, ready to hit the road running when it does get severe, it does get hard, it's difficult. And then also be careful, because you can see with this last rain, the humidity is tremendous, okay? And it can be very exhausting, it can be very trying on the person's body, so be aware of the symptoms, be aware of it, has to be hydrated. They go kind of hand in hand, and then after that, the abundance of mosquitoes. The grove probably is swarming with mosquitoes at this time. Of course, it just depends on the areas that get the most rain, okay? But, you know, be prepared with that also, with bees, and we're also clothing, with all the gear that way. You're well rested, you guys are prepared, and we appreciate all those updates also. You televise to the internet, so it's pretty good for us also. So again, you know, be careful when you start watching too much of that, because you might do some bad evil sleep, and you won't be as protected when it does hit. There was one water rescue on there.
Yes, we had one high water rescue.
Yes, so there was an incident there again, given in practice. So I'm good. Remind yourself, pace yourself, and get restful sleep, because sometimes in the last 72 hours at least, it's a little hard to make.
Thank you, Deacon. Anyone else that would like to share a safety moment? Okay, we'll move forward. Pretty sure we don't have any committee reports, unless anyone wants to speak up. Once, one, twice. All right, we'll move past committee reports. Unfinished business, we still have to work on our committee goals and objectives, so we can hit the ground running. I know we've been extremely busy, and we all wear many different hats, so we'll keep working on this.
Yeah, I think these last 2 months have been probably busy months for us.
Yeah, it's for
Well,
the
you
cities.
with a new baby, right?
A new baby, tax budget season, so it's crazy. And then for county, that's coming up for y'all pretty quick. So we'll keep working on those. and hopefully here in the next few months, we might have to just schedule another special meeting for that. All right, let's go to new business. We'll fly through this meeting as quick as we can. Halo Flight Communications with first responders.
So Halo Flight has always prided ourselves in being able to have a radio that has multitude of frequencies, so that if Duval County is needing us, we can communicate with them directly on their primary channel. Same way with Jim Wells, Brooks, everything. But as time is rolling on, we're seeing more and more agencies, and we deal with multi-agencies, not just the EMS providers, but also law enforcement and multi-fire departments as they're landing us. And so a lot of these counties are changing their radio frequencies or radio equipment from analog to digital or something else. And it's becoming more and more, and our radio bank, as we call it, can only hold so many channels. And so we're running out of space for that. And a lot of times we're not able to get onto the digital side, and therefore have to rely back on the analog, the older radio frequency, if you will. And so what we're finding out is we're having more and more issues trying to communicate with ground support through their channels or channels that are no longer available to us. And so we're requesting for all law enforcement, fire, and EMS to go ahead and just make contact with us through VMed 28. This is a Texas Interop channel, and everybody should have that. We just need to kind of retrain the thought process of, instead of going to Jim Wells County Primary, but to hit us on VMed 28. What is also unique about us is that we do not get to scan channels. Whereas ground ambulances can, fire departments certainly can, law enforcement oftentimes does. And so we need to know exactly which channel our first responders want us to be on. And instead of on their so-called primary channel that we may no longer have, especially like with Live Oak moving from analog to digital, their dispatch center is supposed to, their PSAP is supposed to monitor both analog and digital. Well, that's not quite happening. So we're just trying to convince everybody to go ahead and get on VMed 28 and communicate with us on that directly. Again, we cannot scan in order to pick y'all up on a different channel than what we think you may be on. And therefore we start to, well, we can't hear you, well, we can't hear you. So VMed 28, the only other exception to that may be VFire 21 with the fire departments. But yet oftentimes EMSs would want to get on to VMed 28 in order to do radio reports. So if we can get everybody on that one channel, that would be wonderful. If not, or if something's different, you've got to call back our dispatch on our hotline, our 800 number, and let our dispatch know exactly what channel that our landing zone commander is going to be on, so that we can communicate. So that, and it's a safety thing, it's making sure that we are getting where they need us, and certainly maybe a report about the landing area, and then certainly at night it is most critical because y'all are our eyes on the ground kind of thing. So we're requesting for everybody to be utilizing VMed 28. If anything changes, then a VFire 21 is fine, but communicate that back to our dispatch, so our dispatch can communicate to the med crew, so we're on the right channel to communicate.
We did the same thing, Wendy. We don't, it became mature to try to program everybody's channels into our radios, and then they change in the middle of the,
Yes.
So now you gotta update again. So we just use interrupt channels. We have our radios have our frequencies in it, and everything else is interrupt. We don't even have Sparks Grove, San Diego. We quit programming all those interrupts.
Well, back in the day, it was reasonable, but now it's more agencies and change of equipment and change of frequencies.
Well, and then also change, not just only change of frequencies, but also change of type of systems.
Yeah, correct.
You go to the east, you're on a different, so you're on an 800. Pretty soon you go south, you're on an 800. Get past our county line here, you'll be on an 800 system. So you're going to have different systems. So now you've got to have a radio that has multiple bands on it.
And those that have 800 oftentimes don't have the VHF aspect, so they don't, and even though these are supposed to be in everybody's radio as far as like your interop channels, some of them still don't have their equipment updated for that.
Right,
Or refuse to do it.
we're doing multiband radios, and our multiband radios have we don't program, I don't have CCFD or CCPD's channels in my 800 radio. I have the interrupt channels.
Mhm.
So there's just like there's interrupt channels on the VHF, there's interrupt channels on the 800.
Right.
Every band has their interrupt channels. So we just program all of those in there. So when we go, so for instance, when we went to Harvey, we were able to switch over to our 800 side on our interrupt channels and communicate with everybody that was there.
Would we be able to have Pulsera used for a similar aspect as far as like messaging the information for landing zones and patient report? I mean, because that's what we're currently using.
And we love Pulsera. It's hugely helpful. And so, yes, we just need to make sure our crews are paying attention to that early on, not just for a patient report heads up, but also for the landing zone information. And I'll get with Randy to let the crews know that, you know, especially for you guys, y'all may be doing and giving that information out. We still need to know who is the LZ commander, what agency, because normally it's not the ambulance because those guys are busy with the patient, obviously. So we still kind of need to know who that is, and we need to have some kind of a communication, if not by radio, but by telephone, by that LZ guy, whether that's fire department or LEO, we need to know. Sure.
When's the next LC class?
When we get it scheduled,
Okay.
which will be for Jim Wells County for all the rural fire departments and certainly Alice Fire Department as well. We need to get that scheduled, and we probably need to get that scheduled before the time changes.
Mhm.
So, and if we could hold it here again, I know it's been a few years since we've had one, so that's one of the things we need to do.
Do you have any dates in mind?
I can, let me shoot them back to you and let's get a decision made and we'll get it out.
We can get with the calendar.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, we'll include, and I apologize, not just fire departments, but all the law enforcement, sheriff's department.
We can get with trying to get the big building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Reserved so that we can get we can set the decision.
Oh, okay, because we were
Classroom
in this
portion.
one last time.
We're
So.
in here?
Yep.
Well, we can do this one too, it just depends on how.
How many people are going to show up?
We had quite a few a couple years ago. It was a very large LZ class. And
So we might
we
want to
filled
get
it
that
up.
one.
Okay.
That way it's bigger.
Let me get a couple of dates. We'll do probably evening during the
Evening.
week, so that we can bring in all the rural fire department guys in as well, and then certainly incorporate the law enforcement. I think Fremont PD came in, maybe Orange Grove PD can come in if they can spare.
At least one.
Sure.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that email. Winnie's going to check in and we'll set some dates to do an LZ class for all of our first responders countywide. And, you know, to be here at the fairgrounds. It starts off with an instructional course inside the building, and then we go outside.
With the helicopter, provided that they aren't on a mission, but yes.
Hopefully so. All right. Any other announcements? We've got a few minutes. I know, Jenna, you're not on the agenda. Would you like to speak on behalf of 211? Since you were able to make it?
We're on public comments or announcements?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Yes, my GPS brought me the scenic route today, county roads I've never been on, so it was fun. Yeah, County Road 70, 665, 281, and the back street burn. So I'm Janice Shue, I'm the Outreach Disaster Coordinator for 211 Texas. I cover the 12 counties coastal bend doing outreach about 211 service, which is a statewide helpline you can call 24 hours a day to get information on community services and resources. We are also written into Governor's Homeland Security Response Plan for disasters and into a lot of annexes under Mass Care Human Services. I need to check with y'all's county about that. We check the plans. We just had our maritime exercise Friday. I don't know if anyone talked about that. And so our role, it was a mass casualty, mass fatality event. So in that event, a family assistance center / reunification center stood up. And the lead on that in Corpus was Red Cross. I see Alex was on the call. So we would be entering all that kind of information. For Tropical Storm Harold last week, we started getting increase in steer registrations. I think on Saturday or Sunday, there was just a couple of upticks for Nueces County and a couple of other counties in the coastal state, Galveston, Cameron, Harris, and that continued. And then on Monday, we got calls for evacuation routes. Do I need to evacuate? So we have access to all that information from PIOs, elected officials. So we were just, letting anyone in Clayburgh, Kingsville know, yes, there was a recommended evacuation, voluntary evacuation. And then for those who have power outages, I don't know why everyone calls us when there's a power outage. We don't have any special hotline to PUC or AEP that I know of. But people call us, and so we direct them back to their electric service provider. But we utilize the ERCOT maps and AEP maps just like y'all do. We can, there's an estimate when your time's going to be restored. But following that, which is very typical, a lot of people lost food spoilage, they had to throw it out. There is no resource that's going to help you get food replaced after disaster. However, we can refer and did refer to local food pantries and food banks for those zip codes that were affected. So during times of disaster, those are kind of the typical calls for tropical storm. But every day we're answering calls for people needing help with basic needs. Food, rent, utility payments, help with a parent at home that's older, elderly, that's maybe someone who's disabled in the family, veterans that need to connect with veteran services. So last year we had 58,000 connections for the 12 counties. So that's kind of our role. I brought some of our state posters and put them over there. They're English and Spanish. We're really requesting that anyone and everyone post these in your communities. Please, public, I'm actually gonna go hit up some laundromats in Alice on the way home, because I know that's typically a place where they let you post information, or convenience stores. So we have waiting rooms, lobbies, offices where public comes. Please post this up. English and Spanish, so take a couple if you want to post both. Give some examples of what I talked about. So steer, we're heavily, and I left some brochures too, we're heavily promoting. I was very disappointed, but not surprised, that steer did not increase with an actual tropical storm affecting us. We
We
say,
had like 3 or 4 increases.
yeah,
I read it in the morning, and
That's
then after we pushed it out
Yeah.
over social media,
and you're inland.
I did
So-
another one, and that's to see
so
if we
think
would get like
about-
3.
Nueces County, about 350,000, 60,000 population, probably 50 people registered in steer with an actual bid. There is a point in time where Chief Kidd, the highest emergency manager of our state, the TM, who reports to the governor, will stop registration, because once evacuations start on the timeline, EMC, Billy Delgado doesn't have time to log in and look at it when they're evacuating, so neither does Chief Thomas. An event, so we push it all year long. I've been pushing it, June, July, August. Actually did doing an online training this afternoon, and I send that out to contacts on my list about steer, our role in disasters. So you can help push steer in your community. Print out the one page. I forgot to bring them. There's a one-page flyer you can print out. It kind of gives an idea of who should register. And that's information that emergency managers need during any event. It's all hazards database, but it gets the most attention during hurricane season. So now I'm going to put on my other hat. I am chairperson of our Coastal Bend COAB, which is Community Organizations Active in Disaster. It was BOAD. They changed the B to C. So community organizations, I resurrected that. that group, this year, we've had meetings in March, June, we had one last week. And it is for any voluntary organization, EMC, first response, CERT team, medical reserve, faith-based groups that provide disaster response and recovery after an event, and then long-term recovery. So I have been conscientious. I alternate the location each month because it is the coast event. It's not just Corpus, Mesa County. So our October meeting, I'll check dates now. Lance Brown, the EMC for the county, he and I have been communicating. We're going to have it here in Alice, in Jim Mills County. How y'all can help is if you're a member of a faith-based organization that would help after disaster or does help after disaster, Texas Baptist Men, St. Vincent de Paul, Catholic Charities, Presbyterian, Mennonites, please come. Please encourage those people to come because we want to add them to our membership. I'm finalizing the active members right now directory, and that's going to go out to all membership, which includes EMCs, so that if something happens, Todd and Chief Thomas, if they need specific help, post, state, federal, local resources, that's who's going to help. And so they would have the information of what those agencies are, what services they provide. Not only one contact, but three. We have three contacts for that agency. So, yeah, so our next meeting, I'm hoping is going to be in October. Lance was talking about some festival or something, the big event y'all have then.
County Fair?
The county fair, yes. So we definitely will hopefully pick dates and that don't interfere with that training. So that's kind of what's going on with 211 and Coastal Bend Co-op. And I have some cards. I did sign in. If you need to reach me or would like me to do a presentation, I'm doing those in person and virtual, and really trying to connect with health and human service. So your home health, your hospice, your DMEs, ambulance companies, which y'all have quick turnaround, y'all don't keep patients, but to encourage people to register for steer. So there's my card, and I'm happy to travel anywhere in the 12 counties. Thank you. It's just again steer.
Thank you, Jenna. Make sure whenever you are communicating and sending out public notices, make sure she's in your email chain, because a lot of people do call 211, and then Jenna's gotta say, hold on, let me call Patrick, let me call Todd, what are y'all doing? So push those messages to community leaders. Make sure she's in that email because she's gonna get the public calls. Jim Mills County, Alice, Orange Grove, Fremont, none of us have a 311 number like the big cities do, so they call 211. So we don't have local information centers, but we do get to utilize Jana. So that's for anything, water distribution, sandbags, shelters, evacuations, everything. Tell her about your day, just send an email. We love Jana.
311 took about 590 calls in
Really?
Corpus, 311 service center for Chocolate from Harold. So.
You can take her to lunch too, by the way.
Yes, man.
We always. You've come to the right city.
I know, I saw 2 or 3 places on 665.
So we'll get with Lance and you for the October meeting.
Yes.
For COAD, and we'll push that out. We'll try to join in on that and get as many of us local as we can there. The other thing that I've got, I haven't got a finalized date, but back in, I believe in May or June, we had DPS Trooper Hernandez here talking about the alert training. We did have one in July, right when my son was being born, so I couldn't make it. But they had one in Orange Grove. It was a good turnout, very informative, very heavily involved weekend training. You do have to commit a full day Saturday, a full day Sunday. But they are going to be bringing another one back here late October, early November. So those who haven't been able to attend one, as soon as we get the date confirmed, we'll put it out there. And of course, we open it up countywide first, and then those who don't sign up in countywide, we open it up to region. They normally allow 15 law enforcement, 15 fire medical. So that's.
I was gonna add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a, well, we've kind of covered it. That's a public safety training for police officers, EMTs, and firefighters.
Yeah. Very good active shooter, active attack type training. They put you right into it. Is who's going to be incident commander and what are you going to do in this exact situation? Here's this scenario. And people do freeze. I mean, it's real world experience. I mean, you kind of get those goosebumps because they actually have actual props that they're using and get you going. Get it in?
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I was glad to see the numbers that they had. They had a pretty decent sized class. That was pretty good. We normally don't see that. That classes, we've been offering that class for the last 3 years, 4 years, and the numbers have been really low on those classes. But it was good to see DPS finally joining in to help train some of that. We do have some, so on the fire department, on the Alice Fire Department side, we've been working on some, conducting a lot of stop the bleed trainings with the back to school thing. We do it every year. We get the phone calls from all the schools. So we provide stop the bleed training for all the administrators and staff. And here towards the end of the school year, we'll be providing stop the bleed training for all of the students. The students from, I believe it's the 7th grade on up, have to have it at some point during their school year. So we help them do that. We're also doing the active attack response training. We provide that as well for the school districts. We also do it for some businesses. We get the calls for businesses every once in a while to come in and train them. We train on the standard response protocol, and how to respond to an attack. We use the I Love You Guys Foundation's program, and we've got instructors that will go out and teach that. They can do either or the stop the bleed or the active attack training. We're currently working on our CERT program, so that's something that's going to be very big for us. We do have a teen CERT program here in Alice. It's very small. They're trying to grow, and so we're trying to help them grow. But in addition to helping them grow, with our instructors, it just makes sense to add the adult team, the adult CERT program. So here pretty soon we'll have an active CERT program. Just had some guys finish up their trainer courses. They're fully certified now and ready to get started on this, so we're excited about that. It's going to be a huge help for us here in Alice. We've got trainings we've got a list of trainings that are going to be scheduled. I don't have that list with me. That's working on that for me. That might still be asleep or something. I don't know. But I know we've got some drone response training. We've got some hazmat training coming in, and some confined space rescue stuff coming in too. So once those come up available, we'll put that out so everybody can, if any of the responders in the areas want to attend, they can attend. And those are all done coordinated through TDM. That's pretty much all I've got on the training side for. I know you've got a list of other courses that are coming up, but I just wanted to add those two.
No, yeah, that's perfect. We get our local ones on there. Most everyone already knows here. We're all Alice. I don't see Fremont here, and I'm representing Orange Grove. Alice is our only hazmat, so when they have these hazmat trainings, we want to try to grab as many other volunteer firefighters as we can into the room, because if it's a long, extenuating event, we're going to need all the help you can get. So, and if it's a Fremont event, eyes on the ground. Those are good things to have. So if you see anyone from the rural volunteer fire departments, push them to join in on getting trained for the hazmat. Those who serve leadership roles during emergencies, please make sure that you are up to date on all your NIMs. That includes your 300 and the 400 classes. And we've got 300 classes coming up in September. So if you haven't gotten your 300, ICS 300, 3 different opportunities for you, 2 in Port of Corpus Christi. They're going to be hosted at the Valero Training Center. And then we have one in Refugio Community Center, hosted by Refugio. And then there's a break. There's an EOC class. It'll be the first time offered in Corpus at the Coastal Council of Governments on the 29th. It's just a one-day event. And then we have only one 400, so it's going to be a jam-packed class. So if you haven't gotten those, sign up now to make sure that you're on the roster. And then with that, that's all I have.
We have one more thing to add, Todd. Pipeline training. So we were contacted by a company that coordinates pipeline training for the area, and they needed some help with coordinating that. So we went ahead and myself and this our department are coordinating with them to help get them that training program here in Alice. They do it every year. It's called Paradigm. They do it every year. They usually do it at the Casey Hall for whatever reason they needed a new venue. So we're working with the county to get that scheduled here for the fairgrounds. And I'm hoping that we can kind of coincide that with our LEPC meeting in February. So that way we can get some of those LEPC operators involved. I know on all the committees, we have nobody on the pipeline committee.
Nobody.
So those pipeline guys are probably the right people to put on there, right? They have all this public information and where all the pipelines go through in response training. So looking forward to that. So that'll be coming once we know the date. And we have a tentative date, but we don't want to announce that because we don't know for sure when it's going to happen. So, but it will be in February. Just wanted that.
Okay. Looking to have a guest speaker in October, November for
September. If we have a meeting in September or October, whichever one, we should have the commodity flow study that coming.
is there a preference?
He didn't have.
He said he didn't have.
It'll be done in September. So if we have a meeting in September, he can come and give us a presentation.
Okay. All right. Anything that y'all would like to add, take away from? Anything that y'all would like us to talk about on the next agenda? Anything we need to cover? I know it seems like we've got a short agenda, but it's been lasting us about 45 minutes to an hour, so we get in and out as quick as we can. With that, would y'all prefer to meet September or October? Not everyone at once.
October's going to be kind of rough.
Yeah, October will be busy with the county fair.
When
we've
is
got-
that?
Yeah, we can probably do like the
What is the
latter.
fair? The date?
The 22nd.
What day is y'all's county fair?
That's what we're pulling up.
Oh, okay. I did have another announcement. I see Gary on the line. In case y'all hadn't heard, we had a EDC brief, I guess a month ago, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, I don't know. If you haven't heard about the solar eclipse for 2023, look it up, Google NASA or contact Gary Barney. So the solar eclipse of 2023 is going to come through the U.S. like this, through Texas, kind of down through Middle Rio Grande, Carrizo Springs, probably y'all's counties, and in Corpus Christi, the best viewing of the solar eclipse is going to be on White Cat Boulevard at the beach. So we have started preliminary planning for that. Right now, situational awareness, but reviewing best practices from Kentucky, which is where the last best viewing site was, and their after action reviews. The transportation was the main hindrance. Estimates of 350,000 up to 1 million people additionally will be following it, tracking it, all the way across and end up in Corpus Christi. And so that date is October 13th. So we will be busy in Corpus Christi October 13th. So y'all haven't heard anything about it yet. I think some of y'all's county roads are on that swoosh
Yeah,
where people will be coming through. And next year, it's supposed to go opposite way, this way up Central Texas, Austin, and end up best place viewing will be Dallas, Fort Worth. So we learned through Gary that pretty much all the hotels, Austin up to Fort Worth, are booked next year for the event. And the Chamber of Commerce's and all those counties are promoting it as come stay and view the eclipse, solar eclipse. So, we're kind of gonna be this region, Coastal Bend, we're gonna be like a, test for it for the state and what happens next year when it goes through much more populated cities. So it's gonna be interesting. I've been able to add this to my response list. I've never responded to a solar eclipse, so.
Yeah, we did receive an alert on that, or situational awareness report from TDM. And you just gotta pull it up.
Yeah, I've got to pull up here.
So Todd will pull it up, and what we can do is maybe we can put that on our agenda for the next, for September meeting, for meet September.
That's the current forecast, the county's lead. It was right up here. More of my northern, Orange Grove area is going to be visited. One of the things they're bringing on is be prepared for rural counties, like rural areas.
Yes.
Because they didn't want to get away from city lights. So yeah, we can talk about that.
Some of the traffic jams where people literally pull over on the interstate and stop, or county roads, highways, whatever. And the kind of, individuals who like to track these kind of things, generally like track tornadoes, they like to track storms, they like to go to Burning Man and do all kinds of interesting things in their lives. So it's gonna bring a kind of unique type of visitor to our regions, that are gonna be following this.
Hey, Jenna, so the county fair is the 22nd through the 29th.
Thank you, sir.
So me and Todd, we're talking right now. Is there a way you could support us with materials? We're gonna try to get a booth at the fair. So you get about 20,000 people that'll come through that, mostly local. And so it's a great opportunity to do outreach.
Yeah, that's great.
So we're gonna try to put something together to be able to have an outreach
Yeah,
booth for 211 steer.
Costs would be good.
Alex from Red Cross is going to already be there. We
Yeah.
volunteered him, even though he's online, but you've been voluntold.
And cost is good because most services they provide,
Right.
healthcare, mental health, behavioral health, feeds, Head Start.
You and I can talk later about it.
Yeah, we've got you to work the hottest day of the week.
There will be a cold front before then.
We hope.
We hope for it every year. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't.
It's either hot or wet and cold. All right, so the September meeting would be
So September
26th. All right, so we can meet September 26th, sticking with our last Tuesday of the month. Yeah. September 26th, 2023. 11 a.m., same building, same time, hopefully more faces. All right. Well, any last go backs before we close up? Any recommendations for guest speakers at our next meeting? Oh, so, yeah, he will be here for September. I'm not, that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he should be here for that one. So we'll have somebody for that. And if not, we can maybe get an eclipse expert to come in and talk about the eclipse.
Okay. That is all we have for today. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion and a second on the floor to adjourn. All in favor? Ayes have it. We can leave.
Who was the second?
Alex.
Hey, Todd, I'm gonna send you another email to send me some stuff to, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. 11:48.